take it down.
One blade.
I will do what must be done. Go to the next level.
Welcome to the StarCraft 2 Ready Action Cross Match. I am Wolf, with me as Kaldor, and we are going to have some Kespa versus GSL action coming at you today.
Yeah, exactly. We have 4 players, once again, 2 Kespa players and 2 GOM players, and our first match today is going to be Zerg versus Protoss, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, Zerg versus Protoss, and our Protoss player will be our GSL player. The Zerg will be a Kespa player, so it'll be really exciting to see kind of who these players may or may not be. Of course, after the first best of 3, the player's team who wins, the winning player's team will be revealed, and then at the final match, only the winner's player name will be revealed as well.
Yeah, the players basically have the choice of revealing the names even if they lose, but that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, they like to keep it a secret. Here's our bracket, so you guys can see exactly the race distribution. Protoss versus Zerg, and Zerg versus Terran. So we have a Kespa player, Zerg, a Kespa Terran, and of course our GSL players are Protoss and a Zerg. And we've had a lot of StarTale players come through so far, so I don't know what the reason for that is 100%. Maybe that they just feel more flexible playing in this match. Here are our maps. This is going to be consistent for every best of 3. It's going to start with Entombed, go into Daybreak, and then the final map, if necessary, will be Ohana.
So Kespa Zerg will probably not be the most happy guy right now. He has to play an Entombed first against a Protoss player. One of the maps that Protoss players will always pick against a Zerg if given the choice.
Yeah, and we'll see how well that Zerg player can contend with a Protoss on this map. A lot of people call this map, well, actually only me, not a lot of people. I came up with the idea of Vortex Valley because of the mothership. Vortex has become very important on this map.
And since we called it Vortex Valley, not a single Vortex has occurred in the game.
I know, right?
Casted.
We saw a Vortex Valley type game on Ohana recently, but not on Entombed Valley. A lot of Protoss are actually hitting 3 base timing attacks on this map recently because, you know, it's so easy to take that 3rd base. You see a lot of gateways powered up, sometimes 8 to 12, and then just go for a big attack with +2, even +3 finishing. Sometimes almost pure blink stalkers. So we'll see if that's something that the players want to go with, or if we might see one of those night end type timing attacks where you have the Colossi with mostly blink stalkers. A lot of different possibilities.
Yep, and I guess we're going to start as soon as the players are ready. We certainly are, and then we'll find out who's going to advance today. And in the second match, as already stated, we have a Zerg versus Terran, with the Zerg player being a GSL player today and a Kespa Terran.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting to see as well. I want to see, you know, maybe if we get Reality in here, that would be really exciting. I mean,
that would be really cool.
He's probably the most well-known Terran in the cross-match type of scenarios because he was able to beat so many good players, including TSL Symbol.
Yep.
That was very unexpected when he was able to do that. So maybe he's kind of been called to by the staff who does the picking, because I would definitely be considering picking that guy.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing that we should mention while we're currently waiting for the players to get ready is that just now the VODs of 2011 for GOM have been released. They're free now.
Yeah, the first 4 seasons, and you know it's going to be released over the next 4 days. I think the first season is released today, and then tomorrow the second one, and then the day after, and then so forth. So, you know, there's a post about it. I just retweeted it. I think Kaldor retweeted it as well. So you guys can go on our Twitters, ProxyWolfKaldor, and just look at that tweet. If you're not following GOM TV already, which you should be, so follow them. That way you get information like this. You can see the post and see exactly the details.
You can also go to gomtv.net and just check on the forum. There is, I think it's the first thread, once again, written by Snowbird, and he explains all about it. So the VODs are free now in high quality.
Yep, and just seeing in the chat here, as soon as the Korean commentators are done talking, we're going to start, is what they say. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but in the meantime, make sure you tell all your friends to get on and get watching this. This wasn't announced too early in advance. You know, this has kind of been a regular show to a certain extent. So some people know, but some people may not know about this show. So spread the word about it.
Players seem to be ready.
Yep, we are starting.
Here we go.
Countdown going on 7, 6, 5, and so forth. I'm not going to count all the way down. You guys, you got scared. You thought I was about to do it, but no, don't worry. All right, the map is Entombed Valley. Game 1, Protoss versus Zerg here at the StarCraft 2 Ready Action Cross Match.
And here we go, we're live. To the bottom left we have the GSL player. Starting here currently in the red we have our Protoss. And to the top right we have player C. Today starting as a Caspar Zerg.
Yep. We don't know what his team is just yet, but that will be decided, well, possibly if he wins we'll know exactly what team he's in. Our GSL player is going to be going for a Forge Fast expand of some kind.
And in case that this is the first time that you tune into the Iradi action matches, the idea is basically that you see GSL players against Caspar players, and their IDs are hidden in the first few sets. After the first game, the ID of the winner is going to be revealed, at least the team is going to be revealed, and after the finals, the winner of the entire mini-tournament, he's going to be revealed. And usually the players also tweet a little bit after that about who played in the whole thing, and yeah. That's what usually happens.
Yeah, the information usually gets out there some way, some shape or form. And the cool thing is Calder and I have the ability afterwards to go find out exactly who it is and just not tell you guys. That's the best part. I need to know all the secrets.
Wolf likes being mean, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I'm a pretty tough guy. I just say things how they are. I'm like, sorry guys. like when the GSTL was going on, I was like, no matter who wins this, I'm going to Busan. That's the truth.
That is the expansion actually not going for the Forge first, but straight for the Nexus. And let's see what exactly the Caspar player is going to do. On this map, we saw a double hatch before pool for the first time, played by Life against Hero.
Yeah.
But so far, we didn't see a Drone Scout.
Yeah, and he went pool first regardless. Yeah. There's the first two lings coming out, and the question is, when will he take gas here? Will he try to take a fast third gasless against a Protoss on this map? It is pretty difficult to hold that third without the creep being over there, without having speed, but we have seen people get away with it in the past. Probe is going to come up here, seize the hatch, and is of course going to see these first two lings coming out.
Chasing away the probe, of course, and at the same time the wall-in is now being completed. There's not going to be any kind of aggression from the Caspar player at this point in time. You can already see that he is not building any additional Zerglings. He just tries to take his third and is now going to drone up.
And since he chased the probe away, he's going to feel pretty comfortable with this. The probe is not going to be able to scout this for some time. Depends on how well the probe is controlled. It's only got one ling following it, so if it's a very determined probe, he will actually be able to scout this. Now this ling, if he decides to go in, could get by, but decides not to.
Again, it is ready either way. Double gas now going up. And, well, usually on this map, how it works is that the Protoss player is able to take a third base pretty safely. You only have to defend 2 choke points, whereas the Zerg has a hard time attacking into those. Some players try to go for drop play. Hyun and a lot of players from the TSL team really love to go for a 200 supply Roach army and then going for a drop. Sometimes we see even Ultralists in a late game, a choice that is usually not all that successful, just of how the map works. It highly depends on where exactly the Protoss player tries to engage. If he's in the middle of the map, then Ultralists can work, but if you're trying to attack the 4th base of a Protoss, which is kind of inevitable if he goes for this 3-base style, then you have to fight in those,
those
very narrow
choke
gaps.
points. Yeah, the 4th base, it's much easier to use Broodlords, especially because there's that kind of convenient gap near the 4th base where you can fight with those. So that usually ends up being the composition of choice from the Zerg. Oftentimes you will see a Protoss player fully wall off his natural, then just destroy the rocks to gain access to the 3rd. And the same could be said of the 3rd base. Sometimes you see that completely walled as well. Just kind of a stylistic choice. Depending on how it's done can affect how effective Mutalisks may be, but Mutalisks are pretty rare on this map. There's a lot of ways to get them trapped. It's not easy to bounce between. It's easy to bounce between the natural and the main, but you can still get stuck there a little bit. But the 3rd base is not somewhere that you can easily attack with Mutas. There's so much space for the Protoss to defend. Meanwhile, we do have our Zerg players still getting those extra queens out in drones, but not a single gas has been taken.
Another problem with the Mutalisks is that you have a lot of areas where you can use blinks. As soon as you have blink, defending is very easy for the Protoss. The Scout, as you just could see a few seconds earlier, has been taken down, the Zergling been spotted. And at the same time now, our Caspar Zerg in the main base adding additional queens. He already has 3, so he will produce a few more and then use them for the creep spread.
Yeah, and here's his Roach Warren, hitting it just before the 7-minute mark. And he's droning up quite heavily here, staying very low on the lings. Going up to about 50 drones right now. And, you know, his Roach Warren is going to be out in time to defend any possible 4 gateway aggression, but that's not the plan of our GSL player here. He's using his extra minerals now instead to wall off. He's got that Nexus going up. Now he's just going to need to destroy these rocks so he can have an access point between the two bases against that possible Roach aggression you mentioned earlier. And he's just controlling the Watchtower very aggressively, having these units here, making sure he holds it. And this is a little bit scary for Zerg because he doesn't know exactly what's coming, but he's getting his lair now. And with the timing of his Roach Warren, he's playing this pretty safe. He's not cutting too many corners here.
The Twilight Council is a follow-up for the GSL player who is most likely going for a Blink build now and a later transition. But at this point, the extra queen for our Zerg has already been used. Double gas been spotted by the Casper player as well. And the lair already started. So we'll see fairly soon what exactly he has in mind here.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what sort of attack we're going to see from our Protoss. Like, it's looking like he may just be content to take that third base, defend, and then take a fourth. But he also has the option to attack with an Immortal or two. It's getting +2 right on time, but that Twilight Council's Blink is on the way already, of course, as our observer is highlighting here.
With the amount of gateways that he has, he's probably just taking his third base and a little later on try to take his fourth, as he already said, try to defend those 4, and then the ball is going to be in the court of the Casper player. The Zerg has the entire map, he can take every single base, but he has to find the composition that can take down the Protoss.
Yeah, and you know, something that may become a concern for our Kespa Zerg is, okay, he's adding the second Evo Chamber now. No. Okay, getting emphasis and a second Evo Chamber. But his upgrades are going to be significantly behind here. It's basically going to be +3 against maybe 1-1 if he gets that out right away as soon as that second Evolution Chamber finishes. He is getting now +1 Carapace for his Lings and Roaches. So that's going to be something that's really important against the Protoss if he decides to go for a fast attack especially. And he will see the Twilight Council here. Nothing too significant scouted, but he knows, okay, you're probably not hitting me with a timing attack. I can sit back and look, he's even taking his fourth right now, getting those gases up.
He can pretty safely take a fifth very soon as well. At this point, he can just rely on his drone, can even over-drone a little bit and use the spine crawlers later on. We've seen a lot of Zerg players that try to use a lot of spine crawlers in the late game and slowly just edge forward in order to put pressure on his opponent and made sure that he could not attack into the units. The game between Quirus and Creator, of course, comes to mind that we've seen just recently in the GSL in the 3rd round of Code A.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about Zerg that not a lot of people talk about, I think, is the way that their upgrades work for attack. You basically have to make a choice between range and melee attack upgrade. In this case, he's going for the melee attack upgrade, which is going to help his Lings out quite a bit, and Broodlings later on, but that's not too significant. What that does mean, though, is that his Roaches and his Infested Terrans, if they have to fight, are not going to be as upgraded as the Protoss units, and that's really important. It's kind of a choice that every Zerg player has to make, which one they want to upgrade first. And the choice here, in this case, is I feel kind of an unusual one. He's definitely going to be going very Zergling heavy. He's already making a ton more Zerglings around, getting a Baneling Nest as well. And with the Hive finishes, he may actually just go ahead and start Adrenal Glands immediately.
The Baneling Nest, as you said, is on the way, and he did not start any kind of shenanigans like drop play. He has 90 drones and gets even additional ones, so he's over-droning a little bit as already mentioned. And here we have the first few Spine Crawlers built. He tries to rely on those while he morphs his Greater Spire, which is probably what we are going to see fairly soon. But at this point, Adrenal Glands has been started immediately, and also Neural Parasite, whereas he's going for an Ultralisk Cavern. A little bit of an unusual choice.
Yeah, really weird. It's going to make, I guess, more sense now why he went for the melee upgrade rather than the Roach upgrades with how many Infestors he's making here now. And the Ultralisk, like you said, I mean, they're just not going to be very good at attacking at that 4th base location. His Kree spread so far is really good. That's going to help them out as well. But with no real upgrades, I mean, he's only got +1 Carapace on those. He's about to be facing +3 weapons on all these Blink Stalkers. He's going to be in trouble. And he actually is going to start to lose some units here to these Stalkers. He doesn't have an army that can fight this really right now.
With the Ultralisk composition, he needs to make sure that those Infestors hit their Fungals really well. If they don't connect with the Stalkers, then the Ultralisks are definitely in trouble. They can be sniped so easily, especially without all these upgrades that our Casper player is currently missing. And he needs the surface area as well. The Spine Crawlers are in position, but at this point there are not too many of them. And this is a very Stalker-heavy style. We've seen this from Seed. And, well, there is no Colossi follow-up, but the Stalkers alone are really, really scary.
Yeah, this Stalker force is not going to have any problem moving around on creep, taking out these tumors, even taking out these Spine Crawlers. There's a very easy path of retreat. Looks like we're going to try to see... He's going to try to get a flank here with these Banelings and a few of the Lings coming in. Great force fields, a few Lings, though, stream in. And the Fungals are good. The Baneling's not quite able to connect, though.
He's blinking away, and now suddenly the Infestors are exposed. And I'm a bit surprised that he doesn't even try to target them down. That would help them quite a bit. But now the Kesper player actually with a lot of damage here. The reinforcements stream in. He didn't catch a single one of those infestors though.
Yeah, without catching those infestors, they will live to fight another day, at least potentially here. The problem for now is, though, that those 46 Zerglings are not out yet. This allows him to warp in a few more units. He's not being very aggressive at that third base, taking advantage of the fact that the infestors are out of energy. Hesitating a little bit here means that our GSL player may actually not be able to take down this fourth, as the infestor energy is rebuilding here, and he's got a lot more Lings out. Here we go.
Moving in with the Banelings, and of course those Fungals connect once more. The Banelings are able to take down quite a significant amount of Stalkers and damage the rest of them quite heavily. Now we have the rest of the reinforcements streaming in though, and this force is hard-pressed the fourth base as well. It doesn't look too good. Now finally an offensive link to take down all of them infestors. I like this quite a bit. And now we have the first Ultralisk, and this is definitely giving the Zerg player something to think about. He is out of Fungals, so they can't connect.
Yeah, and the Infested Terrans don't have any attack upgrades, so they're not going to be very strong. He doesn't have any armor upgrades. He's about to have +1. They're talking about these Stalkers, but I mean, it's not going to be very useful to drop those Infested Terrans. He's just showing how desperate he is here. Taking out that Extractor now, picking off a drone, and he's got this really scary army the Zerg player is struggling to deal with now because of simply the upgrades are too good, and the composition without Fungals, without the Infestors here, is not going to be a good one. Look at how fast these Ultras will start to fall.
They receive the extra damage here, and they are focused right away. Most of them are already gone, and this is quite the problem now for the Kesper Zerg. He's on the retreat once again, and those infestors just don't have the energy to use Fungals. He has to resort to Infested Terrans, and that's not going to help him too much.
Yeah, and now that the +1 upgrade is done for armor for the Protoss units, the Infested Terrans even less useful. Taking out these Spinecrawlers, the fourth will fall. He did spot the fifth up at the top left, so he can easily send just a small group of Stalkers up there to take that out. And even though the Zerg remains ahead in supply, his composition, as we've said time and time again, without those key Fungals, is just looking really weak right now. Ultralisks are, you know, even on the map, are already easily countered by, we see Immortals in the production tab. He's got enough Zealots to kind of block the path of the Ultras. Forces a cancel on that unit by taking out the Pylon. And the one thing the Zerg, I guess, has going for him is that the Protoss still hasn't taken a fourth base, and he is going to start running out of money. But the same can be said of the Kesper Zerg, because he's not mining at his fifth.
Exactly, he has the fifth ready, but he's not mining, and once again he even blinks forward in order to make sure that these Ultralisks die. Maybe a little bit premature, catch the Fungal, and those Banelings are doing their damage, but I don't think that at this point the GSL player has to worry too much. There's just not a lot for the Kesper Zerg that can do damage.
Yeah, and with the upgrades, I mean, I think they're so important with how much damage the Stalkers do. Even with this Fungal here, look at how much damage the Ultralisks take from all that Stalker fire. They do bonus damage to armor, they have +3. And he's eventually just going to start running out of steam.
This offensive blink was a bit of a mistake, and he lost quite a lot of Stalkers because of it. He tried to move in, and then the Fungal, they had to hurt him a lot. But now we have the first Immortal in the composition, and the Kesper Zerg is stuck with this unit composition that he's using, and I don't think that this will make him too happy.
Yeah, he's not even going to be able to really transition out of this. He doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the money. And he's trying to go for a run by here, but he's spotted and shut down. He may catch an Immortal, though. That's quite useful.
That will definitely help him a lot. The Immortal is already dead, and those Zealots were not there in time. They, of course, have the upgrade advantage, so they can two-hit a Zergling. They are really important now for the GSL player. And still, the Kesper player a bit ahead in supply, and he has a lot of Infestors now queued up. They will put his Infestor count up to 12. This is going to help him so much. The Ultralisks, maybe with good Fungals, able to close the distance and take down the Stalkers, but at this point, with the additional Immortals in the composition of the GSL Protoss, it's going to be very tough to beat this out.
Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit grim, but he is mining at that fifth base now, and the GSL Protoss has not gone over there to do something about that, and with no creep connecting it, he very easily could. I'm a little bit surprised, and dare I say it, disappointed that he has not sent a group of units over there to deal with this. He's afraid, I guess, of the Zerglings on the map. The Immortal are going to do so much damage here. The Zealots here to tank. And this is, you know, for once, a great army composition using Zealots just because of how much damage they're going to tank from the Zerglings and the Ultralisks. And even with some Fungals here, look at how fast the Ultralisks fall. He's connecting well with the sentries at the bottom, though.
He's doing a lot of damage here finally with the Ultralisks, because now the Fungals are ready, but the Warp-ins, this is going to be the biggest problem that he has. And now that the Ultralisks are gone, there are only Infestors left, and with a good offensive blink, he could take down a lot of them. And there it is. He blinks in. There's another Fungal ready, though. The Zealots need to close the distance and protect the Stalkers.
Yeah, he's losing too much here.
If he blinks a little bit earlier, I don't think he was in cooldown, but I don't know. and now he lost suddenly everything. And this is exactly what we talked about earlier. If you have the Fungals, then your Ultralisk can do damage, and there was nothing to buffer for the GSL Protoss.
Yeah, and now this base over at the left side is actually really paying off for the Zerg. There's no fourth base up for the Protoss, and he is going to be forced to long distance mine. He's got to take out this Zergling with an unusual composition. One Stalker, one Immortal taking it out. He needs to make that Nexus right away, but if he tries to, he's in dire straits now because he doesn't have the money to make a Nexus. If he makes the Nexus, he doesn't have a group of units that he's going to need to defend this, and even if he has that group of units, I'm not sure if he can hold off this aggression. With all these Lings and just a few Infestors with Fungals, he can actually take this all out.
He should have sent over just like 2 of his Zealots. That would have been enough to take down the drones and maybe even the hatch. And, well, this attack, the first Fungal was actually more of the problem than the last one. The first Fungal that we've seen from him, where he lost a lot of the Stalkers, roughly like 10 of them, that was quite unnecessary. He could have done this a lot better. And this last attack, suddenly he waited a bit too long, and the Caspar player had not only the Ultralisk count, but also the Infestors to use the Fungals and the surface area.
This is really problematic for the GSL player here. He's targeting down the... he's doing the Ultralisk, but it's... GG. There's not enough to stop him from forcing the cancel on the Nexus. The Immortals just go in, but there's too many Lings, and I'm actually speechless. I thought he would take a fourth and take out the other base. It was almost as if he just got too complacent. He was like, oh, I got this game, and he just didn't really think about the next step.
I think he thought in the last fight, well, not in the last fight, in the fight before, where he used this offensive blink, he thought that he had already won the game and only wanted to take down the Infestors, but there was one Fungal left in the Zergling follow-up. That's something that he apparently did not anticipate. So suddenly the Zerglings took out a lot of the Stalkers. He lacked the Stalkers later on, and the second blink basically faced the same problem. He blinked on the top of the broad ramp where the Ultralisk could move in, so he was a little bit too eager to end the game. If he would have played this a little bit more patient, I think he would have won it.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, just taking out the base, the 5th base of the Zerg, getting his own 4th, those are 2 things he could have easily done while continuing to be aggressive. And if he had done that, then he would have had the economy to continue to produce units. And he wasn't like he was facing a tech switch. There was nothing really to worry about except money. Our next map, of course, is going to be Daybreak, and we're going to continue this best of 3. Kespa Zerg, you know, using an unusual composition, but some resilience there. Great Fungals, and even though I guess in some ways he got a little bit lucky, I think he played well.
Yeah, I'm personally not a fan of this composition. We talked in the other game why. But if you can fight in the middle of the map, and that's the key, if the Protoss player allows you to fight where you have the surface area and against the Fungals, then this composition works very well. But usually, as a Protoss player, what you try to do when you see that you are facing Ultralisk is you try to force your opponent into these narrow gaps that exist on the map or into a choke point, and then the Ultralisks don't do anything because they just block each other and they aren't really able to attack. The Protoss player didn't do it. He did not capitalize on his opponent's unit composition, just fought him in the middle of the map every single time, and now he's down a map, and we are already on Daybreak, so let's just jump in. Map number 2 between our Caspar and our GSL player.